A very good evening to everyone. I'm sure people will join in few more minutes. So let us not wait for those who are yet to join and respect those who have joined on time. So ours is a kind of dedicated session from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So our cutoff time is set at 5 p.m. So it's a 60 minutes of quick knowledge bite on any of the emerging technology which is of relevance to us. The idea is that we kickstart an interest into the topic, and that becomes a topic of interest and discussion among the senior people with their young mentors, the young people around them. So in series of that, we had started this journey sometime in 2024 and been continuously we have been doing this every month, and today we have somewhere close to 15th episode of this knowledge bite session. So we have had multiple topics of discussion. In case you are finding it now and finding it interesting, so you haven't missed out on anything, we will share you our YouTube learning link where you can go through that video bites, wherein in within 60 minutes you will get apprised about so many topics, all brought to you by a subject matter expert or experts from our own organization who have done the implementation in their own departments or at different plants and units. So in series of that, today we are going to have a knowledge bite on human capital management technology, and what more could be the best opportunity or opportune time than an occasion when one of our sister plant, that is Bokaro Steel plant, has recently gone live on this technology. So in order to take this session forward, let me invite Sri Atanu Mukherjee sir, who is head of academics at MTI, to kindly welcome the senior mentees, their young mentors, and esteemed guests who have also joined today's Knowledge Bite session. Atanu Mukherjee sir, for your welcome address, please.
Thank you, Chandranath, and very good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to the Knowledge Bite session. As Chandranath has already mentioned, the series of intervention we are conducting. In fact, in every month, very religiously, we conduct this Knowledge Bite session. First Saturday of every month, we conduct this. So this time also, being a first Saturday of January. So we are conducting this knowledge bite session, and once again, I before I welcoming all of you, first of all, I like to extend all good wishes for the happy new year 2025, and also I like to welcome the senior people who are in the role of a mentee, and the young people in the reverse mentoring. Young people, they are playing the role of a mentor. So this particular reverse mentoring process, we are taking up all the different emerging technologies. The basic purpose is of this knowledge bite session is to provide a trigger so that some interest can be generated, and once the interest is generated between the mentee and mentor, so we can take the mentee mentor interaction further to have a very effective reverse mentoring process. So this is the basic purpose of conducting this knowledge bite session. Just like I like to inform the house that as already Chandranath has mentioned, we have conducted series of this knowledge bite session on the different emerging technology. We started with Chat GPT, then social media, cyber hygiene, IoT, SAP S4 HANA, 3D digital twin, cloud computing, GEM, email.gov.in, Future Skill Prime, Extended Reality, Health and Fitness app, and the last we conducted, that is the digital arrest. So this time we have selected. In fact, we have not selected. It is the demand of the mentor and mentee. So this time we have kept this topic as human capital management, and also I like to welcome Mr. Rahul. I remember in one of the physical meeting at MTI, he was taking the lead. That time it was not on live at Bokaro, so he was preparing all the preparatory document. So I have seen his enthusiasm level, and I'm sure today's knowledge bite session will be very, very exciting and knowledge sharing platform. So, with this, once again, I welcome all of you in this today's knowledge bite session. Thank you. Over to Chandana.
Thank you so much, sir. It's only apt that we can thank the team HR, led by the senior management of Bokaro Steel Plant, who have been very prompt in, providing that support and sparing Rahul Tripathi, sir. To take this forward session forward without wasting any much time, I will be inviting Sri Rahul Kumar Tripathi, who is Assistant General Manager HR at Bokaro Steel Plant, and he has been I would say pioneer in terms of driving this entire project in Bokaro Steel Plant. Sir had joined SAIL as a management trainee technical in 2010 at Durgapur Steel Plant and has worked in process control automation for various process departments like SMS, blast furnace. Before joining, Bokaro Steel Plant in HR and then working there since 2016. Sir has been very, closely associated not only from the conceptualization but also through the implementation, and then we have witnessed him, how he has driven it successfully while go live. So, without any further delay, I'm sure all participants are eager to hear from you, sir. So, over to Rahul Tripathi, sir, to take forward this session.
Thank you so much, Chandranath, for the brief introduction, and thank you so much, Atanu Mukherjee, sir. I hope I'm audible to all of you, sir.
Yes, you are audible.
I thank the MTI team for providing this opportunity to me for sharing the experience of HCM implementation at Bokaro. So, respected executive directors, chief general managers, ma'ams and sirs, good evening and wish you a very happy new year. Today, I'll be sharing the insights of the implementation of Oracle Fusion HCM system at Bokaro Steel Plant, and will also take you through the implementation journey and my experience of the same through a brief presentation on the same. And I would be very happy to answer the queries from the audiences towards the end of the session. So let's begin, and I'll be sharing my screen. I hope the screen is visible to all.
Yes, yes, sir, your
Okay.
presentation is
Thank you.
visible.
Thank you so much. So this is flow of the presentation which I'll be taking through. So I'll be starting with the brief of the project, the triggering point for the project, and the chronology of events, followed by the scope of implementation at Bokaro, and the organization structure mapping that we had used in the implementation of HCM at Bokaro. And there were some pillars of implementation. I'll be going through them as well. Then followed by the data migration and the standardization of the master data and the benefits which is expected out of the HCM implementation. So to start with, about the brief of the project. So this is a SaaS application. So SaaS stands for the software as a service, and this comprises of all HR functions from hire to retire. It is a HR system framework within which there are certain building blocks which remains intact, whereas the other configurable and the customizable items can be modified as per the requirements. So for example, the sale personal number, so this is the same software framework which can be utilized by multiple clients. So in our case, the sale person number starts with an alphabet and it's a 7-character alphanumeric number. It can be different for different clients. So this is something which can be, I mean, with a very minute level, I'm trying to explain that these are the things which can be customized, which can be configured. The approval workflows can be configured as per our process flows. Okay. And there are certain things which cannot be because they are the basic foundation blocks of the system. Now coming to the accessibility part of the system. To access this application, only three things are required. A device, it can be a desktop, it can be a mobile, it can be a tablet, a valid user account, and an internet connection. So there is practically no dependency on the version of the OS or the version of the device, whichever we are using, the LAN connectivity or the VPN or any other custom settings with respect to different environments in different locations. This can also be accessed through the mobile app for the same. The third point is that it runs on a subscription model, and there is a user license fee which is to be paid on a per user per period basis. The period can be monthly, it can be quarterly. For Bokaro, it was quarterly payment. And the best part of it is that the number of licenses can be changed. So for example, suppose if today we are purchasing the licenses for 13,000 on-roll employees, and 2 years down the line at the time of renewal, we think that now the manpower has reduced and we need to renew it only for 10,000 employees, we are free to do so and we can do so, thus reducing our overall cost for the licenses. Coming to the fourth point is that the regular updates and maintenance of the cloud services, which is handled by the cloud service provider, in this case, which is Oracle. So Oracle, they typically release the quarterly updates every quarter for the human capital management system, which primarily comprises of the enhancements in the user experience and the user interface, the features related to AI and Gen AI features, and certain bug fixes if found any. The system is scalable enough with respect to the growing needs. So, for example, today this system, which has been implemented at Bokaro, has been integrated with four major third-party systems, which we would be also discussing later, with payroll, biometric, the hospital management information system, and the SAP system. For example, tomorrow, if a new system comes in place, a third-party system, and we need to integrate our HCM system with that new system, the system is scalable enough that we can integrate it with the other system. Now, scalability doesn't only means that integration. It also means that suppose if we are covering the regular employees today, and tomorrow if we have to cover the DNP trainees or the contractual doctors, or for that matter, the vocational trainees, or for that matter, if we also have to extend the same platform for our contract workers, the same can also be done. This system being hosted on cloud, there is no cost of hardware installation and yearly, annual, or comprehensive maintenance contract for maintaining those hardware, and hence this system is extremely cost efficient. And this can also be linked to the subscription model, which I covered earlier, that the number of user licenses can be controlled and can be managed depending on the headcount. The last point is that the integration, it offers a seamless integration with any third-party application. The integration can be done using application programming interfaces, the Oracle Integration Cloud, the SFTP, and the ORDS, etc. And we have used all of these for integrating with one or the other systems. Now we come to some of the numbers related to this project. So this project was this started with the design workshop, and more than 100 design workshops were conducted to cover the various processes, HR processes and functions, wherein we had to explain the as is of our existing systems, the to be expectation of the system post implementation of HCM. Then the implementation partner, that was Deloitte, they had to understand our as is, our expectations, and they had come up with a business requirement document, which was again required to be vetted by the team BSL. Wherever the modifications had to be done, it had to be done at that stage. And after that, after finalization of the business requirement document, the development and the configuration and the customization processes started. Then, in due course of development to production, there were 3 rounds of data migration, which was primarily required for the, I mean, there were again 3 instances. One was for the development of the system, the other was for the testing of the system. The third, which we have gone live with, is also called as the production system. So we had to give the data for all the employees, not only the core HR data, which I would also be covering in the subsequent slides, but it was required to be done 3 times. This data migration consisted of more than 3 crores of data records. Why this 3 crores? Because it also consisted the payroll data, and the payroll data was to be given historically since the date of joining of the employee. Every month's salary, the various components, which was the payment component and the recovery component. So every line item was a different row in that Excel file. And you can understand the total complexity of compiling the data for all on-roll employees as of now. And then we would also be doing it for the not on roll employees, but this was the complexity involved. Then this project also involved the scanning of personal files of roughly 15,000 employees. We had also undertaken a task of skill and competency mapping of all the designations, the executive and the non-executive designations, which are across all the departments, section and subsection. So what is the job description, what is the job responsibility, and what are the key skills and competencies expected from a person working as an operator, for example, in a department called blast furnace. So that was for an example, but we had done this for all the designations across all departments, section and subsection in assistance with the line managers and the line departments. Then there were more than 100 system integration test and the user acceptance test, that is SIT and UAT workshops, which was conducted to test for the integration of the HCM system with the interdependent systems. And with respect to whatever has been developed for Bokaro, whether it is acceptable to the users, to the admins, whether it is working the way it has been expected to work or not. And this comprised of more than 100 workshops. Next, this system comprises of these broadly categorized as these 9 modules, and these 9 modules are again as per the standard modules offered by Oracle. So the first one was recruitment and onboarding, core HR, absence, which is also taking care of the leaves, time and labor, HR help desk, the grievance management, the discipline management is part of the HR help desk module. Then we have this compensation module, which primarily takes care of the 60 to 70% of the payroll related activities. We also have the talent and performance management module, the benefits module, and the learning and development module. This scope also covers the employees of mines, collieries, and CCSO in addition with BSL. So now we come to the trigger for this project. So it started somewhere in 2020. 20. We would also cover that in the subsequent slide. So there were mainly these 6 reasons, but anyways, there were many more reasons, but broadly categorized, these were the 6 reasons. So there was no single source of truth for HR related data. So as of now, if I have to say that, okay, if I have to pick the data, for example, with respect to the quarter of the employee, the company accommodation which has been allotted by the management to the employee. So on which system or on which data should we rely? The HRIS data used to show a different address of the employee with respect to the company's quarter, and the quarter allotment system, which is running completely on a different platform, it had a different data. So there was no single source, and this is one of the examples. There were many more data objects which were not having a single source of truth. Coming to the inconsistency in the data and non-updation of data on interdependent systems. So suppose if some employee, they declared a dependent and they got it approved in a particular HRIA system. Now it has to flow to the interdependent systems, which is the hospital management system or the SAP system. For example, if the employee needs to visit the hospital to avail some services, or the employee has to get a referral done for that dependent. So until and unless that data is available on the SAP system and the HMIS system, the employee is not at all going to get the services. So this was again one of the examples and one of the case studies for this. Then the existing systems also lack data validation and audit trails, which we had experienced multiple times. So say, for example, somebody corrected the basic pay of an employee with a retrospective date, with a historical date. And say, for example, during the wage revision, we discovered that, okay, there was some discrepancy in the basic pay, which was corrected for an employee X. Now we wanted to perform an audit that who and why did this data got updated. So who did it and why was it done? And we were unable to locate it in the system, that who did it, why was it done. So there were multiple reasons due to which there were lack of audit trails, and this can also be considered, for example, with respect to the change of name of an employee. So suppose if I am known as Rahul Kumar Tripathi, if I got my name changed from Rahul to Ritesh, and if I want to check that till what time I was known as Rahul, the system is not having the audit trail for that. So this was also one of the reasons. Then lack of communication and feedback mechanism. So for example, if an employee applies for a HR service request and he is not able to get the proper communication that what is the status of his request, processing of the request, and at the same time the HR manager are also in the same category with respect to lack of communication and feedback mechanism, because once they process for something and it goes to finance, it goes to multiple agencies, they are not getting the real-time communications in our existing setup, and that is the reason that when the employee comes to them, they are unable to answer to their queries. Then there was scalability issues with the existing systems. I still remember, and since Panda sir is also there on the call, so when the mines and collieries, they got merged with Bokaro Steel Plant, and we were facing serious issues with the onboarding of the employees of mines and collieries, because the homegrown system of Bokaro, they were so designed that it could cater to only the employees of PSL, and there were many reasons wherein we could not provide the proper authorization to the employees of mines and collieries to manage the data of the employees who are physically located at mines. So that was again with respect to the scalability of the system, existing systems. And all these things, this led to the ever increasing grievances of the employees, which could not get resolved within time. And many times it could also lead to it had also led to serious IR issues as well. So this is the brief of the chronology of events. The idea to concept, it started somewhere in May 22. Proposal was put up in July 22. It was a IPU project, by the way, and the stage one approval for the same was obtained in May 23. So after May 23, we started the processing for the contracts and all, and we got the contract signed in January 24. The development started, the design workshop, they started from February 24. And then the kickoff meeting, signing of contracts and all. And right now we have completed with the user acceptance testing and the final go live of the phase one of HCM at Bokaro. Now, the scope of implementation. I'll go module by module. So, this is with respect to the recruitment and onboarding module. So, recruitment can be of primarily three types, that is, external, internal, or compassionate appointment. So, these are the minute level processes which are getting covered in this scope. Then we have also categorized something called as pre-boarding step, wherein the employee, before they come to Bokaro for joining BSL, they would be given a link through their mail, and they would be asked to key in the details, whatever they key in, and whatever they currently write it in the personal data form once they reach Bokaro. So all those details would be fed by this candidate in the HCM system. They can also upload the documents, and once they report at Bokaro, once they are physically selected through the medical tests and all, after that the recruiter would be checking the data which has been filled by the employee. They will go through the physical documents, match it with the online uploaded documents. If found okay, the candidate would be converted from a candidate to a regular employee. The sale person number gets generated, and those activities take place. Coming to the onboarding part of it, again, the generation of sale person number, which I already mentioned. And in case of transfer in employee, we would provide a facility of uploading the last payslip which the employee had got from the previous unit. And the system is smart enough that it can extract the exact information with respect to the bank account, with respect to the basic pay of the employee from that uploaded piece of payslip. It would update it in the relevant placeholder for basic pay, and there is no manual intervention required by anyone to update the basic pay. And that flows to the CNIT system for the creation of master data basis, which the salary of the employee can start getting generated from the new unit, that is Bukao. Then we cover the core HR and the benefits module. This primarily comprises of all these basic core HR processes, starting from initial joining to the final settlement. Then the leave management and the biometric and the tour management system, which is also part of the absence and time and labor module of the Oracle Fusion HCM. So over here, if you can see that the approval process for the study leave, maternity leave, childcare leave and all. So as on date, every steel plant has got their own leave management system. Even we also had. So now the difference is that in the current existing system, we can only apply for the standard leaves and all. But for special type of leaves, which requires some approval and which also requires some issuance of the order and updation of certain data in the pay related database. So for that, for example, if somebody has to apply for a study leave, the process is as simple as applying a CL. He just needs to go over there, select from the drop down the study leave, the duration of the study leave, the place from where the institution from where he is going to pursue the higher studies. The document is to be uploaded. The course name is to be entered in the system. The employee also has the feature facility to update that what is the period of CL, EL, or HPL which he wants to avail during that study leave period. Once he submits, the approval workflow triggers. It goes for the 3 or 4 levels of approval. After the approval is in place, the employee gets a notification, the mail notification, SMS notification, or also the bell icon notification in the HCM system. And simultaneously, the data is also updated in the interdependent systems. The same stands for maternity and any other type of special type of leaves. Then, with respect to the talent and performance management, the things that we can do in the system is we can set up the goals, we can have the skill assessment and continuous feedback from the line managers. The performance management of non-executives would be completely taken care of in this system. The skill and competency mapping for all executives and non-executives would be done in the system. And not only the mapping, we also have linked it with the learning and development. So suppose if somebody is required to have a proficiency of say 3 on a scale of 5 for a certain skill, and the employee is having only a proficiency of 2, so there is a skill gap of level 1, and then accordingly this decision can be taken by the system that which is the course for which we can send that employee for a training. So if the difference is huge, we would like to have that employee go through a thorough training from the basics. If the difference is low, we do understand that the employee is having a fair enough understanding of that skill, and then we can give an expert level of training to that employee. So that is the level of skill gap assessment and linkage with the training module that we have done in the system. This also offers provision for the succession planning. Then we come to the HR help desk, which I also mentioned covers the grievance management and the discipline management part of the HR processes. So the grievances can also be registered through email in addition to the online application. The grievances would be categorized on the basis of grievance categories. It can be escalated if not attended within a time period. We also have the provision for grievance resolution history and trail and the dashboards for the same. For the discipline management, again, we the HR manager can initiate the disciplinary proceedings basis the complaint received. Then the selection of action to be taken by the disciplinary authority, issuance of disciplinary orders, impact of penalties on the salary. It would be done in auto mode and no manual intervention would be required. So, say for example, if some disciplinary action has been taken against an employee wherein the basic is to be reduced. So right now we are doing it manually. This would be done auto mode in this system. Then we come to the compensation module, which I also mentioned covers primarily the payroll related functions. So the promotions and increments would be effected through this module. The employee benefits, the attendance and leave screening, which is currently done by the CNIT payroll team, would be taken care of by the HCM system. The pay corrections, incentive rewards, so anything which is related to salary of the employee or compensation of the employee would be taken care of by the compensation module. Coming to the learning and development module of this system, this allows the feature of maintaining a learning catalog, the instructor-led training, the blended training, and the self-paced training. Identification of training needs can be done through the system. The linkage of skill and competency gap with learning, which I explained earlier, so and then the voluntary enrollment and enrollment by manager for the learning can be done. So right now, if the HRD or the HR L&D team has to take some nominations for a particular training program, so they send the mails and they get the nominations through email, and it is very difficult for them as well to maintain the list of participants. So these all things can be done through this system. The learning history can be seen in the system. The managers can also recommend these trainings or learnings to the subordinates. It can also be recommended by the peers, and the employees can also voluntarily enroll themselves in the training programs. The feedback on the learning and training effectiveness, the assessment for the same can be done in the system. And there is a concept of creating the learning communities as we have in LinkedIn and all, that there can be specific communities with respect to, say for example, if we have a PLC related learning community, so all PLC related knowledge transfers can be done on that particular community. People can share their ideas, they can share the documents and all. They can also share their doubts. The resolution of the doubts can also be done in those communities, and it can be managed by the administrator. Then we have also linked the e-Pathshala scheme of sale within the learning and development module, right from the making the application for enrollment to e-Pathshala scheme till the time of payment for reimbursement of that amount. So everything would be done through the system without any manual intervention. Coming to the organization structure mapping that we had done for the HCM implementation at Bokaro. So SAIL, we had made this Steel Authority of India Limited as the legal entity for the implementation. Now, BSN and collieries are the business units. So, say for example, if tomorrow multiple different units are to be onboarded in this HCM system, it is as simple as adding the business units, extending whatever has been done for Bokaro. It can be customized as per the local requirement. So something which is done in a different way in Bokaro and is required to be done in a different way for other unit, those changes in the approval workflows, those changes in the configurations of the items or the processes, they can be done seamlessly. But this is the representation of the business unit over here. The divisions are mentioned. The divisions comes next in the hierarchy, followed by the department, followed by the section and the subsection. So this is just a, graphical representation of a sample uh, division, department, and section, subsection. Now coming to the pillars or of implementation, which I was discussing earlier. So let us start with the design workshops, which was conducted. I had also mentioned this, that the things that we had done in the design workshop. So in the design workshops, lot many discussions happened, and we also got lot many inputs from the Deloitte team. So suppose if there is a approval workflow which is not required as on date, but is just being done because it has been done in the past. So there was ample scope of transformation during this design workshop, which we had eventually done as well for certain of the for certain processes as well. Then we come to the development and configuration. In the development and the configuration stage, we had to standardize multiple document templates. So for example, if the disciplinary if for example, with respect to discipline management module, so a particular shop was issuing the suspension order in a different format, or a charge sheet in a different format, and a different shop or a different department was issuing it in a different format. So all those document templates had to be standardized, and this is one of the examples. We had to do it for multiple documents. Then we had to provide the interpretation of the rules and policies in existence, the solutioning of the requirements within the product framework. So if there is a certain laid down rule and policy, it has to be configured in the system. We had to also accommodate the product framework in mind. So what can be done and what cannot be done. After that, providing the approval workflow for multiple processes. For example, transfers, inter-department transfers, inter-division transfers. What would be the workflow for the study leave? What would be the workflow for any other type of HR processes? So those things had to be configured. Then we had to provide the templates for the output files, the database table structures for updation on interdependent systems. So as I mentioned that we would be getting the CPRS acceptable extract for the payroll related data. So we had to provide that template as well, that we require the data exactly in this format, which would be directly consumed by CPRS. And then there would be no manual intervention with respect to local payroll processing. Coming to the system integration and the user acceptance testing, I mean, this has already been discussed, and the data migration part has also been discussed. So just to give an idea that what was the amount of data that had to be migrated, and the number of records that I mentioned earlier. So it contains the data pertaining to multiple modules, starting from core HR to talent profile. So I had been getting calls that what are the number of data or the amount of data that you had shared. So this is just a brief snapshot of that with respect to core HR. What are the type of data that we had shared with respect to learning? What we have shared with respect to payroll, the talent management, and all. Now, those were the master data templates. These are the transactional data templates. Okay. Yeah. So then we come to the standardization of data, master data that we had done in due course of implementation. So we had standardized lot many things. We would be covering this in the subsequent slides, but these are just for numbers that we had reduced the number of sections and subsections from 930 to 859. The number of incentive codes at Bokaro was 7, which had reduced to 2. Then we had also standardized the qualification, the addresses, the various other things related to employee particulars. We would be diving deep into the standardization of data that we had done at Bokaro. So we start with the department. So just to set an example, so earlier the current director in charge secretariat was known as MD secretariat, and I'm just taking this as an example, and this can be for any other department as well. So earlier it used to be known as MD secretariat. Later it got converted to CEO secretariat, and now it is currently known as director in charge secretariat. And our database had all three combinations of this department, and whenever we had to give the list, all these departments were also figuring in that list. So this was one of the reasons, and there are many more reasons that suppose if the department got merged with a different department. So the department merger used to happen at the document level, but again if we have to give that, okay, which department is reporting to which, that was a manual task. Then there was no connect between the existence of department sections and subsections with the ones which was normally mentioned in the transfer orders. So normally, whenever the transfer orders were issued by the relevant agencies, be it the shop HR or the personal OD section, so multiple times we had seen that there are certain combinations of sections or subsections which are non-existent, and people were not able to update that also in the HRI system for some reason or the other. Then there were difference in the nomenclatures of the departments, and there were this was the last point is the most important one. There were multiple departments. Say for example, our medical and health services department, which we also call as Bokaro General Hospital. So we did not had the section or subsection level classification for BGH. The result of which was that, suppose if somebody would have asked me that, okay, how many employees are posted in the pharmacy section of Bokaro General Hospital, I could not have replied to that particular query, because there was no such classification. So all employees, all 400 500 employees posted in BGH, they were mapped under medical and health services department only. So during the standardization of this department related data, what we had done is that we had got the classification done into the sections and subsections for more than 20 major departments, and whatever I have mentioned were the issues, they all got addressed. But the challenges that we faced was the consensus building within between the stakeholders. So for example, if a stakeholder was not ready that, okay, if this department is being known by this name and if we change it all of a sudden, what would be the implication? The HODs would react, the employees would react, and nobody was aware that what is going to be the reactions, because these exercises were never done in the past. And again, the fear of the change management was there, but this has been done. Now coming to the incentive code, the complexity in the incentive code was different from the department. So earlier there was 7 incentive codes at Bokaro. Just to put the context, it was 3 different incentive codes for the people working in the works division and 4 for the people working in non-works division, and the incentive amount was guided by the incentive code mapped against each of the employees. And whenever the trainees got regularized, the incentive code was required to be manually updated by somebody in the system. And if that somebody is missing and if that somebody has not updated it, the employee is not going to get the incentive amount post regularization. This was one of the challenges. The other challenge was that over a period of time, there was a huge knowledge gap that, okay, which out of these 7 incentive codes, which incentive code is for which department? This was nowhere mapped in the system. That, okay, if 3 are for works, which is for which department? It was not mapped. So, while performing this particular standardization activity, we took the data, we analyzed the data, we found out that it was only around 80 odd people who were having incentive code which was other than the 2 standard codes. Then we took a decision that what is to be done is that we would map these 80 employees in either of these 2 incentive codes basis the area of posting, and we did it. Finally, it is before the implementation of HCM only we had done it. This is the 5th month when we had processed the salary, and there was no IR issue, which was also a challenge. There was no issues from any of the departments. There was no major issues with respect to the employees claiming that they were getting a higher incentive and they have been paid a lower incentive, or vice versa. And this task was very risky because it could have impacted the total non-executive employee strength of Bokaro Steel Plant, which could have led to an IR issue. Next, coming to the department code. At Bokaro, we had 2 different set of department codes. One was the HRIS department code and the other was the pay department code. Now, this HRIS department code, while it was being used for maintaining the department section and subsection of the employee for the HRIS database, the pay department code was used for managing the payroll related activities by mainly by finance and CNIT, and even the journal entries and the posting in the SAP ledgers were done basis the pay department codes. Now, this pay department and HRIS department code did not have a one-to-one mapping. So, for example, if suppose I get transferred today from HR department to blast furnace department or coke ovens department, while the HR manager would change my department HRIS department code from HR to blast furnace, the pay department code never got changed because it was to be done by the department. Over a period of years, we had migrated from one system to other system, and this pay department code updation, somehow it got delayed and somehow it got mixed up with different junk values and all. And then we saw that people are getting transferred, the HRS department code is getting changed, but still the pay department code which is getting reflected in payslip is different, leading to discrepancy. So then we took this task that again, and for some reason or the other, the pay department code, if it was not in sync with HRIS in other systems, the data in the other systems was not correct, which was also covered in the first slide where we mentioned that there was no single source of truth. So we took this exercise, we did one-to-one mapping for pay department and HRIS department code without and the intent was to not disturb the pay department code. So we maintained a lookup table. We tried to do the one-to-one mapping for all the department codes. And right now, the same thing has been updated in all our interdependent systems from payroll to CNIT's SAP system to HMIS system and with biometric system as well. And now, once the employee is getting transferred from one department to other, only the HRS department code is getting changed in the front end, and in the back end, the pay department code gets automatically updated. Again, the risk was that this was the exercise being done for the first time. The risk of, change management was the biggest risk, and the other risks which were discussed earlier. Then coming to the designation. So we had different nomenclatures of the same designation. So, for example, an operator is operator OPER. Operator, the spelling of operator for some set of people, and for some other set of people, it was OPTR. So if I have to give the designations count, that what is the total number of operators working in a current particular department. So I have to take all the nomenclatures manually, or I can miss out some of those. So that was the standardization which was required for designations. There are certain specific designations which were no more relevant. For example, family planning, field worker, hot job khalasi, etc. And the count of these designations were also quite less. I mean, the number of people within this designations were quite less. So we had done that exercise also. And there were high number of non-standard designations which was becoming unmanageable. So an employee getting transferred from plant to BGH, and the designation was crane operator. So we find that in the system we have a crane operator working in hospital, and there was no reason that the employee should have the designation of a crane operator. So we did the modifications and the standardization for designations as well. Coming to the qualifications, we did the standardization of qualifications. So for example, the in qualifications, MCA was put above the BTech qualification because it had a master's degree in it. Then there were diploma courses, and diploma means in our existing system, all the diploma were categorized in one particular set. So whether it is a diploma in engineering or it is a post MBBS diploma, both were having the same value. So if somebody is having a post MBBS diploma, and we have to give these qualifications in the sequential order of qualification, it should have been MBBS and then the post MBBS diploma. But due to the categorization of that diploma, the qualification which used to appear in the reports, it was diploma then post MBBS. So these were just the observations that we had noted down, and we took this initiative of standardizing all these things. We had also standardized a list of universities. So for example, we had 76 different type of nomenclatures for Vinoba Bhave University at Bokaro. We have standardized it to one single nomenclature because it was a open text field where whosoever keyed in the data, it was up to his intelligence, and whatever he keyed in got registered in our database, and it was getting continued till so far. We also categorize the qualifications as technical and non-technical. We also categorize the qualification with respect to the diploma in engineering, with respect to whether they are eligible for getting that benefit in the promotion for consideration of the training period for the first promotion and all, because those all things were done manually earlier, and during the exercise of standardization of data, we took this initiative. Then the benefits of HCM, we have come towards the end of this. So the benefits of HCM is that all the applications would be under this umbrella, and this would be the single platform, single window for all HR related services for the employees. The ease of availing services, it would be services on the go. The employees would not be required anymore to visit physically the offices of HR, CNIT, and finance. The auto approval workflows would be triggered for all HR processes. There would be transparency in the processing of service requests of the employee, so that the employee need not visit the departments and follow it up with somebody. The data would be updated on real-time basis on the interdependent system. So the employee who is working in a particular shift in a particular department, and if he has to take some of the dependents to the hospital, for example, so he can get it updated while being on duty, while somebody can take the dependents to the hospital, and the data would be updated at both the places on real time. Then we would also be empowering the employees by providing them the access to their personal files, the soft copies of the personal files which are getting scanned, and the facility to update or view the personal data of the employees. They can update the personal data, and the auto approval workflows would trigger wherever required. The employees can go for changing the bank account by themselves, which would again be triggered to which would again trigger a approval workflow. It will lead to a paperless working, nevertheless, and employees can better focus on the work. Notification alerts would be sent for every transaction done in the system to the relevant stakeholders. It can be accessed through any device, and this grievance management system would be something wherein the employee can also register the grievances through email. We have this chatbot facility, also known as Oracle Digital Assistant, which can respond to the basic and mundane queries of the employees. Say, for example, what is the leave balance of the employee? If he wants to check, he can just go and type it over there, or also it can also translate the speech to text. So if I speak it, it can recognize my voice. It can say that it can respond to my query, that what is the leave balance or any sort of query that has been asked for. Then there is also a feature of Oracle guided learning, similar to, suppose if somebody is using a mobile app, and for the first time when we are using it, it guides us with respect to the navigation, that how do we navigate to the next step. So those things can be done for the most frequently used transactions, so that the employee gets onboarded very quickly and assimilates well with the system. Now, these are certain screenshots, and behind each of the screenshot, there is a story behind it of the transformation journey and the quality of services that we are going to provide to the employees. So, on the left side of my screen, you can see the current format of the form for changing the bank account, which is to be downloaded from our local internet website. It is to be manually filled by the employee. He or she needs to get the NOCs from the respective bank branches, get it forwarded by the department, manually submitted to the HRIS section of personal department, HR department. Somebody keys in the data in the HRIS system. It goes for an approval to finance. Somebody approves it over there, and after that, it gets updated on the systems. Sometimes it also takes some time to get updated. Now, on the right hand side of the screen, you can see this small form which is developed in the HCM system, and the employee can directly come over here. He can select the existing account, or whether he wants a new bank account to be updated. This is a detail. This is single click, and this gets auto triggered for the approval. Once approved, it gets updated. So there is no requirement of NOC. There is no requirement of submission of downloading the manual form, moving from one bank to other bank, coming to the non-works administrative building, submitting the form, somebody keying in the data, somebody approving it, and again the chances of error, commitment of error, would also get reduced. So this is the transformation with respect to the employee services. Again, the next transformation is with respect to the, for example, if somebody has to apply for laptop advance, he can see on real time basis that on the left hand side of the screen, I am applying for the laptop advance. On the right hand of the screen, I can see that it shows me that where is it currently pending, with whom is it currently pending. This is the same for any other transactions. Again, with respect to the leaves, on the left hand side of the screen, I can see that, okay, I applied for leave. Now it is pending to my controlling officer. Since when it is pending, with the timestamp, it shows me the details. On the right hand side, I can also see that whether it is completed, denied, or awaiting for approval. Next, the chatbot feature that I just mentioned. Suppose within the HCM also, there could be, say, 30-35 notifications coming to the line managers or to the respective authorities. So they would have to go to the bell icon, and they can see from there also, they can see from individual tiles within that screen. The other option is that they can come to the chatbot. They can just write that, do I have anything to approve? It gives you a total list of pending approvals. Now you can click on each of these hyperlinks, and it would take you directly to that particular pending approval, and you can take the action. The next screenshot is with respect to the submissions, whether it is getting approved or not. Suppose I give some 4 or 5 submissions, I want to check the status of all those things. If I need not go to each of those tiles, each of those links individually, I can just write it in the chatbot. I can get the reply with the current status. The third one is if I want to see my basic pay, my salary component and all. The fourth one is with respect to the leave balances. This is the organization structure which can be viewed in the system as per the roles and authorization of the employees. So one very unique feature of this is that, suppose, okay, this was taken some time back. So we can see that, okay, there are total 8 direct reportees for this particular executive, and we can see that what is the total number of reports. This is 120. And we can see that, okay, so for example, if we see for this employee, for Nina Singh ma'am, we can see that there are 7 people directly reporting to her and 34 altogether reporting to her. So this is just a screenshot of this. This is again the copy of these files which are getting scanned. These all digitized files are OCR searchable. So if you can see that I just searched for a text sing, this was a handwritten text sing. It could locate the exact location where these things are appearing. But it also depends on the how legible the handwriting is and the accuracy as well. So the HR managers, they need not navigate to each of the pages which they are currently doing. They can just go and search it using the controller feature. Then this is the on the HRP. We also have a system for getting the HR plan, getting the requisitions from the respective HODs and all. The reservation rostering has also been taken care of it in the HCM system. The benefit of the HCM system on payroll functions would be that 70 to 80% of job which is currently being done by payroll team would not be required to be done. The data collation shall be done by HCM system, and we would be getting the CPRS acceptable extracts from the HCM. There will be better audit and control mechanisms, and we can also look for exception reporting and handling. So some people, if we can, with this, we can also find out that, okay, if there is a serious aberration of a particular set of people in the current payroll, that can be handled in advance. So on the HR and HR processes, we can think of going for a centralization of HR functions for promotions, establishment matters, and all. We can have a, okay, all these points have been discussed earlier. Uh, Considering the paucity of time, okay, I would just like to spend some time on this managing stakeholders through areas of responsibility. So areas of responsibility is something that if we map in the system that, okay, these 50 people are the HODs of these 50 respective departments, and it gets integrated with the SAP system. So even in the SAP system, whatever roles and authorization is to be given to a HOD, that can be done using this area of responsibility mapping in the HCM system. So we update the areas of responsibilities in one HCM system. The effect can be seen in all the interdependent systems. And for example, if somebody joining new, he or she needs to get some authorization in SAP, so he has to send a mail right now. After this, what can happen is that we can also think of developing something for SAP in the SAP system, that, okay, if a particular employee is a technical advisor to a HOD, so what are the authorizations that is required for a technical advisor of a HOD in the SAP system? So these things can also improve the other systems as well. We have also planned for the quarter allotment system and the management of contractual doctors and DNBs in the subsequent phases. On HR dashboards and analytics, we would have the dashboards, the standard dashboards and the custom dashboards. The one custom dashboard that has been created at Bokaro is for the production and compensation dashboard, where we can see the department-wise production as well as the total headcount of that department and the compensation of those employees working in that department. We can also add the cost of contract workers for that department, and we can have a holistic view of the performance of that department with respect to production and with respect to the manpower, with respect to the compensation being paid to the employees and contract workers of that department. It can also be compared historically for the previous years, and we can also think of what are the changes that we need to do to improve the production, what are the changes that we need to do to manage the compensation of that department and all. So those insights can be taken from the dashboards and analytics. We are also planning to link it up with the referral system and the health checkup statistics, so that the employee should log in into HCM system and he would have the view of medical history of himself as well as the dependents. Then there were certain transformations which we have discussed earlier, which was involved in this project. And with this, we have come to a end of this session. This presentation. Thank you, all of you, for the patient hearing, sir. And I'm open to any questions by any of the participants, sir.
So, thank you so much for finishing right on time, sir. It has indeed been, 1 hour is indeed not a justice with the topic that we have at hand. So, let's open for question and answer. We have another 5 or 7 minutes. If any, but you would like to ask anything or clarify anything or share your thoughts, I think now would be the time. So while people, jot down their thoughts and, probably ask any questions, I have one small query that I wanted to clarify, sir. The entire system is on the cloud, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So that would be like a public cloud or a private cloud, sir.
This is a private cloud for
Specifically.
Sale Bokaro Steel Plant. So it is like a tenancy model. So we are a tenant of this Oracle Cloud Service Provider for this human capital management system, and we have this completely private to us.
Perfect. So if any user or any employee would like to log in on this system from their workstation, say through intranet instead of internet, so will that be possible, or internet is a prerequisite to access the system, sir?
The internet would be a prerequisite because it is hosted on the cloud service providers platform.
Okay.
So that would be a prerequisite.
Great. Great. Yes. I was expecting a lot more queries from our participants. If there is any,
Uh, Hello, Chandrana Dipankar here.
yeah, Dipankar sir, please go
Uh,
ahead. We can hear you.
Rahul, I would like to know whether this was an open tender or a limited tender, and what was the approximate duration of the project and cost estimate?
So the project was done through the open tendering mode. I mean, for the selection of the implementation partner, and roughly the cost. There was three components for the cost. One was the license cost, the other was the implementation cost, and the third one was the maintenance and support cost.
I would request that cost we can discuss offline, sir, because the session is being recorded and we would be
Understood.
posting
Understood.
it
Right.
online.
Yes.
So
One thing, this is the means after implementing the system is under support and maintenance for how many years?
So the support and maintenance would be like 12 months is the implementation timeline, followed by 3 months of defect liability period, and followed by 9 months of maintenance and support by the implementation partner. Whereas this maintenance and support by the cloud service provider exists till the license period, till the
Okay,
end
that
of the license period.
the cloud service has been provided by or means Deloitte
By
themselves. We
Oracle.
separately
Yeah.
buy the cloud service, right?
Yeah, sir. Basically, there are two type of maintenance support over here. One is the maintenance and support which is provided by the Oracle, which is the cloud service provider, with respect to the cloud functionalities of the application. The other is the maintenance and support provided by the implementation partner, so that if you have to get something modified, some change request coming, so that would be taken care of by the implementation partner. Whereas the support provided by Oracle coexists and co-terminates with the end of the license
Yes.
period.
Right.
What is the plan basically? Suppose after 3 years, can we migrate to some other means if we buy our own cloud, is it possible to migrate to that cloud? Is
That
there
would
any
be a management decision, but sir, with my personal experience, implementing HCM on one particular platform is itself a very complicated task, sir. And doing it again 2 or 3 years down the line, it is going to be extremely complex because it is not that we just port it from one system to other system, because there are multiple lines of codes, multiple lines of configurations which has been done, and again we can only get the codes for the part that has been done by the implementation partner, whereas the core framework, the product framework, is from Oracle, for which we won't be having the code for the same. We can get our data is not a challenge. We can download our data anytime, so that is not going to be a challenge.
but that means we will have to continue with the Oracle cloud for until we use it.
It's not mandatory, sir. If we are not satisfied with the performance, we can take a call. That is not mandatory that we need to continue with it. But what I'm saying is that if it is serving the purpose and the functionalities are working well, so in that scenario, I said.
I ask this question because currently the scenario is there is a debate regarding whether the cloud solution is cost effective with respect to on-prem solution or not. Because earlier it started with a bang that all cloud solutions are very cost effective, but right now at ISP also we have seen that we
So, sir,
started our ERP system with cloud, but it is very
so sir,
costly.
just to answer your question, sir, this would not be. I mean, it is not a one-word answer. I mean, suppose if something is working well for a bank, it might not work well for sale, and vice versa is also true. So, for example, sir, it is a logical decision which is to be taken. For example, if you go for a on-premise solution, and if you have to purchase a hardware, irrespective of the manpower, suppose if we have a manpower of 55,000 today, and we are going to have a manpower of say 40,000 say 3 years down the line, we need to maintain the same hardware for even for 1,000 employee and for 50,000 employee. So that hardware maintenance cost is not going to get reduced. Whereas over here we also have this flexibility of reducing the number of licenses. So suppose if we purchase it for 50,000 users today, we can go for 35,000, 40,000, maybe 2 years down the line. So again, this is a logical discussion
Actually,
that
the thing is regarding the scalability and the flexibility that private companies or small organizations have with their
yeah,
decision making industry.
yeah,
At
yeah,
ISP
please.
or at sale like organization, what happens is the decision to reduce the infrastructure or increase the infrastructure at a very short time is very difficult.
I
So
think,
the
Yes,
sir,
sir.
flexibility that
we
we
have.
have now is not leveraged.
Yeah, I think,
Yes, sir.
sir, we have Sri Pawan Kumar, sir, EDHR, who wants to share. Sir, please, you can unmute and go ahead, sir. We are not able to hear, sir, from your end.
आई थिंक सर का माइक एनेबल नहीं है क्या?
It's showing
वहां पे
on
एक्चुअली
mute.
एचआर की टीम ही बैठी है. वो इट्स नॉट
Uh,
जस्ट पवन कुमार सर, देयर इज द एचआर टीम ऑफ बीएसपी सिटिंग देयर.
right, right.
I think Pawan
Somehow,
sir is unmuted. Yes, sir.
sir is unmute, but sound is not coming.
तो सर एक बार डिस्कनेक्ट करके एक बार फिर से कनेक्ट कर लें तो शायद हो जाएगा. वो कभी कभी होता है.
Okay, while sir comes back, if we have any further queries, anybody would like to ask? In the meantime, I have a filler question, sir. Do we have anything, for assuring uptime, like the system that has come up in the form will have some assured uptime of say 90% or 99%, something like that?
Yes, Chandranath, we have a SLA, the service level agreement, and the cloud service provider has to ensure that they perform. I mean, there has to be a 99.99% uptime of the system.
Fantastic.
They are also
That's
covered by the contractual obligations.
okay. I have one more input that I wanted to, ask from L&D fraternity point of view that since it is having inbuilt LMS, but one feature that has been of late coming in the front is the digital library. So many private organizations like Maxter, Edster, and so many other online magazines and platforms are coming up. Does this LMS has any feature of like, providing any digital library wherein
Yes, yes, Chandranath, they also provide the digital libraries, and there is also a concept of, I mean, we can also integrate this HCM system with the third-party digital libraries like Howard Mentoring. We can also link with LinkedIn Learning and all. And for that, we do require support from MTI because that
definitely.
would be because that is a corporate account which has been purchased by sale, and in order to integrate it, we require your support. So, looking
Uh,
forward to that.
in fact, Rahul, I can tell you right now, if you want to test it out with all the people who have been provided licenses in Bokaro, because उनके accounts हैं, we can try
Uh-huh.
that pilot.
Okay, sir. So we would take this pilot, sir, maybe somewhere towards the end of January, sir.
ठीक है, fair enough. पता
Yes,
लग
I'll
जाएगा
get
यूज
that.
करने से कैसे इंटीग्रेट होता है
Yes,
तो
sir.
पता लग जाएगा. अच्छा है.
Because they had already asked the credentials for integrations, and we were not having the credentials, so we could not give it to them. And so that
And
particular
I
integration
can
has not
discuss
been.
with corporate office for
Yeah, yeah,
LinkedIn Learning also. I think LinkedIn
yeah,
Learning in Harvard we can try out.
yeah, yeah.
Chandan, after some time, if it's possible, we can see what we can do with FSP.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely, sir. FSP is also
तो
undergoing a
हाँ,
migration.
changes
So,
उनका भी माइग्रेशन हो रहा है.
yes,
So that's a good idea. Let's try it out and get a feel of that process.
Yes, sir.
Uh, so अच्छा रहेगा.
So good that Chandranath, you brought out this point. Thank you so
def-
much.
yes, yes, yes. Because we are learning, we are expanding so many
Yeah,
things outside our own purview and collaborating on different organizations. So that would be a
yeah, yeah,
great way.
definitely,
Yes,
definitely.
yes, Pawan sir, we can, I think, hear you, sir. I think sir was for a moment unmute right now.
सर वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो में सर चैट यूज कर लीजिए इफ यू कुड जस्ट
If somebody is there nearby, can join through mobile also. That would be really convenient if somebody can join through mobile. Yes. So, do we have any more questions from our audience?
ओके
So this is a kind of new platform that we have been trying in our Knowledge Byte session. So somewhat initially people are getting familiarized with this functionality. I'm just gauging if anybody would like to share the feedback.
Chandranath, just a moment. I think I'm getting a call from Bhilai. I
Yes,
हाँ
yes, please.
just put it on mute. Yeah. Yeah, Chandranath, I just got. Sir, can you? Yeah. Okay.
हाँ हाँ आ गया आवाज आ गया सर अब वहाँ उस हॉल में दो कनेक्शन है दूसरा ऑफ कर दीजिए
No, sir. Actually, he had called me on phone, and he just wanted to. I just wanted to put him on speaker. So, anyways, I got his query, sir. So, sir, just let me know if you're. I mean, if I'm audible to you, Samir sir from Bhilai, CNIT. So, sir's query was that to elaborate more upon the integration with the SAP system. So, sir, we this. So the
Right.
HCM system provides this feature to integrate with SAP system using API. We had tried to integrate it with API as well, but then finally the SAP team at Bokaro, they took a call that we would rather want to integrate it through ORDS. ORDS is a Oracle REST data service through which we have integrated the HCM system with SAP by by installing this ORDS system on an intermediary server located in our CNIT. So, but I'm unable to get the acknowledgement from your end, sir.
So you can type in chat box if
हेलो आर यू ऑडिबल
हाँ
yes,
यस
yes.
सर इससे बात
Hello. Hey. If
वहाँ
this
दो
is okay,
सिमल्टेनियसली चल रही है इसलिए सर जिससे आवाज आ रही है बाकी का ये स्पीकर ऑफ कर दीजिए सर
we are trying to find out किससे आवाज आ रहा है जा रही लेकिन इससे भी जा रही है ना that means
नॉट हैविंग अच्छा ठीक है शालिनी ने लिखा है नॉट हैविंग माइक्रोफोन हैंड्स टाइपिंग इन केस ऑफ डिस्प्ले
Yes, sir. आपको sound आ रहा है. Please go ahead.
मैडम
यू आर इन EDHR's ऑफिस
इससे बंद just hold on hello
सर मैं
हाँ अब आया
I
सर
think now we have sorted it out somehow
राइट सर
okay But I'm surprised, like from other HR fraternity, no question had come. Questions were there on Oracle or the cloud and how we'll do the open tendering and all those things. But what is the use of having this system for HR? I think question should have been on that. Why we had to go for it and what we are required to do. Maybe what Rahul has summarized. I don't know how many have been able to grasp it. Like 100 conducting 100 workshops. Okay, that gives a number only. One thing, I don't know if I am audible to all HR friends. My request would be start thinking like a sale HR person only. Now, when Bokaro is doing it, it doesn't mean that Bokaro has done it. Now you have to do it separately for Bhilai, separately for Rourkela, or separately for Durgapur. This is something which we have to take it up to sale level. Now, one or two slides, I would have loved Rahul to elaborate more. Like when we start doing it, it's any system. Any system you take, you have a calculator. Calculator can give you freedom to calculate, but you must know the mathematics to calculate. So you must know how we have to use the system, what actually changes are required. There are so many things which we have been doing in a certain way, and we are just not ready to change ourselves. If we are not ready to change ourselves, no system can help us. So that is one thing. It is transformation of our system. Like we have to, one thing which was there at Bokaro, we wanted our candidates to have an access to the system and then feed the data and then come for joining. So even for that purpose, there was so much of resistance. Why we should allow candidates to have this data? How we can rely on that? Even now, different finance departments, personal departments are having different take on which form is to be used. It has to be signed by HOD, and then only it will move from this to this place. All these things, this mental blockage is more important than having a transformation of technology. So that is much more that is required first place, and then only we can utilize it in a better way. Even transforming from one yes, even from transforming from one designation to another, like something which was communicated by the corporate office, some of the units have done it, others have not done it. So if we continue to do it like this, then we'll continue to work in silos. What used to happen when we were personal officers, one of the personal officer of say of Cocoons would say, I will do it like this only from my place. I have to do it like this, others may do it differently. So if we continue to do it, even in one department, in one plant, there were differences of doing the things. So that mindset we have to we have to come out of that mindset, and we have to adopt newer ways of working. Whatever we do, we have to think whether we do it we have to keep doing like that only, or can we find a better way of doing it. So system or now whatever system we adopt, whatever we have SAP or Oracle or whatever may be, first of thing we have to transfer ourselves, and then only we can utilize it better. One thing what HOPs have decided, it will be we'll be take it forward to sale level. And now sale level means there will be single source of data for all the units. Now you need not bother about it is now where we have joined and transferring a personal file from one place to another, and then we continue to grapple with this problem of sending last what is that LPC. So far we have not been able to find out solution for that. So some departments, some plants are having certain elements in that, another plants are not having that. So we have to integrate our systems also and let the best system work. It is not that whatever Bokaro has done is the best and we have to adopt it. Even Bokaro have to change. If we find a better way of doing it, we have to adopt that, and then only we can move. So this is one thing, like there's some very very small example. We are having this rule section in each of the plant. each of the plant is having interpretation done in their way. Why we should have such kind of duplicacy, triplicacy, or whatever we may say? We can have a single source. Centralization doesn't mean that everything has to be done by corporate office. Centralization means a particular plant can be given a responsibility to handle it. Rule section can be handled by maybe Bokaro. Another thing can be handled by Bhilai. Something can be handled by Rourkela. So you can utilize the resources better. This is something we have to think of. This is something which is futuristic. We have to do it. One thing this T&D functions. Something Bokaro has done, competency mapping. We need not adopt whatever Bokaro has done, but we have to learn from them. Whether they have done is the best way of doing it, or we can find out another way of doing it. So today, when we are sitting here, instead of talking about whether it will be an open tender or it will be whatever may be, technology can change. We may have to again sit down after 3 years. What best is available, what we can do, what better we can do. But only thing is that we have to keep reminding ourselves at a particular time if this is the best way of doing it or we can do it in a better way. So that is the change which is required. And I think if I have been able to make others think, that is my job to do. Thank you everyone for patiently listening it. This was one thing. Bokaro was facing a lot of issues at that time, which Rahul has mentioned in a single slide. But it was not that simple actually. So many things we keep on happening. Somewhere the process has evolved in a better way, somewhere maybe lagging behind, but we have to come to a one platform so that everything can be integrated. We all will be able to do a better job for our employees if we integrate our systems so that we can have the best approach to do this thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. It is indeed a very remarkable journey that our company has taken, sir. And what we can see as an outcome must have been a long journey with lot of learnings. Thank you so much, sir. After a lot of technical glitch, we were able to hear your thoughts. Let me quickly invite Sanjay Dar, sir, for sharing his thoughts for the road ahead, and then we'll close for today's session. Sir, Sanjay, sir,
Thank you,
please.
Jagannath. I understand we are running out of time, so I'll at the outset like to thank Harimon Jaji for sparing Rahul for this session because it's a challenge. We have started on a journey. There are a lot of things still to be done. But what's important for all of us is to appreciate as managers of processes, especially from HR and as senior level people also, because the mentees are the top management of the company. Uh, why this particular session is important is because any such major transformational system level implementation basically demands that we start putting our house in order before we put the technology in place. So we need to set our processes and clean up our processes. We need to clean up our data. We need to get a clear understanding of what we are trying to achieve, what we are trying to do. Because then the technology comes in, and yes, we technology is a enabler. It's a force multiplier. There were some queries regarding single tender, open tender, limited tender. Frankly enough, in the larger scheme of things, it's a very minor question. It will be open tender, so nothing. Ultimately, whosoever is the most eligible partner will come up. So that is not really much of an issue. But what is important is if our design is set, then we are not vulnerable in terms of technology changes or vendor changes. In terms of the changeovers, I think Rahul mentioned it. It's the model is software as a service, so we pay as far as we use. So it's pay per use. So again, that doesn't have really significant commercial implications. What Pawan sir has also mentioned, and it's important for us, is that every system implementation is a very golden opportunity to clean up our systems and identify best practices which can be embedded in our processes. And that is what we need to work. The second issue is every major large scale system implementation is also an opportunity to harmonize our processes and remove the redundancy and friction in our system. We should be working on that. And every major implementation which has been taken up, maybe as a pilot at one plant, is also a learning opportunity for all of us to figure out what needs to be fixed, what needs to be done to make it a success. And with that kind of mindset, we should start examining, trying to make it a success, figuring out what works, figuring out what needs to be improved, figuring out what can be done even better, uh, so that when we scale it up, we scale up the best version. We don't scale up only an imperfect version. We scale up the best version, and then that's again what Pawan sir has also said, and I'm sure is reflected in all of people. I'll once again like to thank everybody who has participated in this, because this was a precursor to this is what is happening right now. This is what we are all engaged with right now. This is what we will be partners in going forward. So we should be aware of it. We should know what is happening, and we should give our own inputs in terms of how to make it better, and we should give our contribution in terms of making it better. All these system implementations, they will crash if we all keep watching from the side and say कि ये कर रहा है देखते हैं. It will not work like that. We all have to participate, we all have to engage, and we all have to figure out how to make it a success. So I think that is the purpose of engaging with technology and having sessions like this. I'm sure the youngsters know technology better, but the elders know कि company में क्या होता है नहीं होता है. So the reverse mentors will apprise their mentees much more about sir technology में क्या क्या हो सकता है, and then the seniors can tell them कि इसमें ये लोचा है, क्या क्या कर सकते हैं वो देखो पहले. So I'm sure those conversations will help us a lot, and thank you very much for your time, and thank you Rahul for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you so much, sir. Though the subject was very vast, but I tried to do it within 60 minutes.
I think it was a wonderfully packed session, and thank you very much, everyone. We are through with today's Knowledge Byte session, but like every month's first Saturday, we are going to have our next Knowledge Byte session on 1st of February, and incidentally, the next one will be on 1st of March. So the next two Knowledge Byte session will be on first day of every month. That is first Saturday. The next topic that we have identified is the blockchain technology. You would be amazed to find how this is affecting our life, and how so many potentials are there in terms of smart contracts and maintaining records. And next to that is scheduled is the deep fake. That is yet again interesting topic that we have identified. Uh, I can see if there is no more inputs. Yes, Harimanja sir, you have unmute your mic, sir.
No, I have just unmuted to thank everybody. Thank MTI, Sanjay, and Chandrakant, everyone, that you have given time for SCM. Very rightly, it was implemented and you have requested. It is very timely, and matter has been covered. I do not want to add anything further. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone, for your patient learning. See you on next month, first Saturday. Thank you, everyone.